Boy, I'm reading articles saying that Gen X women aren't going to age quietly and they feel excluded from the body positive movement. I'm seeing more delusional articles trying to make Gen X females feel better. And I can tell you, as far as I'm concerned, as a whole, outside the ones that are married or in relationships or whatever, Gen X women, they're done. Okay, I'm a Gen Xer and I'm going to say flat out, they are done. Okay? Whatever delusions that they were, all the delusions that they were taught in, during their time, during their heyday, and all the stuff that they thought they could do, they could have it all, and all this other stuff, and they didn't need no man, all that stuff. Yeah, well, guess what? How's that working out for them now? Then you got all talking about how much guilt and anxiety they have, and all this other stuff, and they can't sleep. And I mean, when were some of them going to learn? They didn't want to. They didn't want to hear it, no matter what. And let me tell you something. That's the reason why I find it laughable, because as a Gen X man, I dated plenty of Gen X females. I know how they are. I know how they've been. And at the end of the day, a lot of them did have that feminist mentality, and where it got them. Most of them are divorced or single or whatever, or they're working themselves for the rest of their lives. Ultimately, they're single. They become perpetually single. Not single by choice, but perpetually single. And some of them are the most sour and bitter people you'd ever want to meet. Some of the most entitled, still at this level of entitlement. They still think for some reason that the things they did when they were in their teens or in their early 20s, they can still do now. They feel like they if they want to. It's like, you folks, you girls gotta get figure it out. Okay, it's over for you. Okay, it's over. Most of them can't even get Gen X men. Okay, most Gen X men out here, if they're dating, they're not looking for Gen X females. If anything, they're looking for a younger woman. Okay, if they're any man of means or any man of value, they are not looking for a Gen X female. They don't want the baggage. They don't want the attitude. They don't want none of that. They want somebody who's going to be cooperative, not somebody who thinks they're better than them. Okay, or looks down on men, you know, subtly. Doesn't matter. Or think, it's ridiculous. They just keep on trying to make excuses for, what has happened to Gen X women. They're trying to make them, you know, out to be, I don't know. They're trying to find everybody to blame, but of course, not any of them. For example, yeah, just nonsense. Here's this article on Forbes. There's an article on Forbes talking about why Gen X women will not be aging quietly. Yeah, well, guess what? They can be as loud as they want, but guess what? It's not going to make no difference. Being loud and still losing, you're still losing. Call them resilient, call them adaptable, independent, and innovative. Just don't call them irrelevant. Come on, man. This is nonsense, man. Their spending power. What money they can give basically to the machine? Yeah. Well, look, that's the only thing they're gonna get. A lot of these women, they've been through the mill. They ran it. They're on the carousel. Okay. Here's one woman here. Says, I was 45 and suddenly suffering from horrible insomnia, seemingly out of nowhere. I was also feeling increasingly worried about getting older and becoming irrelevant. I did some Googling and realized I was entering perimenopause, a state in which I knew almost nothing. Oh boy. It's everything except for some of the decisions they made. Everything but that. Everything but that. They can forget about it, man. That's all I'm going to say. They can forget about it, okay? I'm 52 years old, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm certainly not looking for a woman that's anywhere near her 40s, okay? If that's the case, I would just stay. I'd just say, hey, hell with it. Just stay by yourself, or just look. Some of these women in their 40s, in their early 50s, maybe, you know, people might freaking take them for a whirl, but that's going to be basically it. They're not going to be looking to have a relationship with these women. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Why would you? If you're a man of means, you can still have children. Why are you going to go with a Gen X female who's got baggage from divorces or marriages and kids and everything else? And she's so set in her ways, and you know, she's. I mean, no, it's just ridiculous. It's not going to work. A lot of them are still delusional after all this time. You know what it's about? It's like they don't want to admit defeat, but why they still lose. This is like saying, well, with Taraji P. Henson. She was up there, talking to men like they're chosen, like a proverbial pat in the head. Don't worry, sons. We're going to make sure we don't forget about you on our way up. And now she's up there crying about she ain't getting enough money. Well, guess what? Don't look at no sympathy from us, okay? Because you expected to have more than maybe what you believe you're worth and maybe what the market does. That might be the issue. But they're still gonna keep on pushing. I mean, really, it's over. It's over. All I can say, in my opinion, with Gen X women, any of them that even remotely want to figure out how they can be successful by the time they're retirement age, change your attitude if you can. You're gonna have to be willing to accept maybe, well, you can call it settling if you want to, but really at this point, a lot of these guys will be settling for you. You may not want to hear it, but that's the reality. I'm 50 years old, and guess what? I've had women that are in their mid to late 20s interested in me, and I am not by any means a rich dude. So what does that tell you about what's going on out here in society? Okay? It's just ridiculous, man. I'll tell you what, a lot of us Gen X men, we learned some valuable lessons from our generation as far as dating and getting married. We learned some hard lessons too. Some of us ain't quite learned the lessons. Still, some of us want to be simps. But guess what? That's a hard way to go, man. Because I got news for you. If you don't learn now, I don't know if you ever will. Hopefully you do. But you're a grown man, that's on you at this point. There's enough information out there. There's enough people in your age bracket right now. A lot of these red pillars are Gen Xers for a reason. A lot of these manosphere guys are Gen Xers for a reason. Because guess what? We went through a generation with the child support and the feminism and all this other stuff. And all the other nonsense that went on, okay? And us being marginalized and treated like we weren't worth, we ain't shit and all this other stuff. We went through that. And a lot of us have actually, and no matter how long it took, we actually finally learned that guess what? We can do bad. When they say you can do bad by ourselves, no, we can do bad by ourselves. We can do good by ourselves. That's the thing. They're the ones doing bad by themselves. That's why they have all these problems. Because the truth is in the fact that they're trying to be in a position that a lot of them were not meant to be in. Because they bought into a lie that a lot of their mothers told them too. A lot of nonsense, the bitterness they passed down their mother for things they never went through. So, but there's these articles out here still trying to make them feel good, still trying to tell them, oh, don't worry, we're not going to go quietly. Yeah, well, guess what? You can yell all you want to, but it's going to be like being in a quiet room because ain't nobody listening. Ain't nobody listening. And here, at least one here is saying James women can't have it all after all. See? At least this article here, one that I'm looking at right now, at least this one is semi wants to be truthful. And the title of it is James women can't have it all after all. In 2013, Sheryl Sandberg, born in 1969, published the bestseller Lean In, which encouraged working women to ask themselves, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Yeah. Well, tell you what, I haven't heard nothing about Sheryl Sandberg in a while. She's no longer the COO of Facebook. But I can tell you that Lean In book was a load of nonsense, a complete load of nonsense. It's just a dream continued, a fantasy continued. That's all. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I've met some James women that ain't too bad looking, but a lot of them, the ones that are still pretty happy, a lot of them are married, and they've been married for a while. But then there's also a whole bunch of them that crashed and burned and don't want to admit it to themselves. There's actually quite a bit of those. So, you know, all I can say is, fellas, save yourselves and don't look back. Damn sure don't look back to Gen X women. Definitely don't do the don't definitely don't go back in time. Don't do the time machine with that. They're still trying to sell this feminist stuff. They're still trying to sell it by how much economic power they got and all that stuff. So you know what? Let them continue to lie to themselves, but guess what? Don't save them. If they can't save themselves, then guess what? That's the equality they asked for. I'm out.